guys, welcome back to Bibliophile Reads. I'm Courtney and I'm joining you today with my June TBR. I don't usually do TBRs, but for June I want to focus on lots of summer books. Before I get into that, if you've been following my channel, you know that I have a cute little pup named Mocha, and he is 11 months old, and we opted to get a second puppy because we love him so much. So I want to introduce you guys to Tux. Say hi, Tux. Hi. Tux is also a Chihuahua mix, and he's exactly 8 weeks old, and he is spunky and keeping all of us on our toes. And so say hi. So comment down below, what do you think about Tux? What do you think about Tux? Okay, let's get to business. So like I said, I don't generally do TBRs because I'm 100% a mood reader, and I will often change what it is that I am reading. And so sometimes having a TBR makes me feel like I am stagnant, so I opt not to do them. But I did want to focus on a TBR because I was really wanting to just focus on summer books. It's June, the weather's nice. I'm not a summer person, I'll say that. But I used to dread it a lot more at our old house because we lived right across the street from a basketball court, and you can imagine what a basketball court sounds like in the summer. But now in our new place, it's so quiet, and so I am appreciating sitting outside on cooler nights and just the transition. I've said before, I live in Minnesota, and so there's so much of the year that is sort of snowy and cold and gloomy, but when we get to spring, it's just like everything blooms. It's so beautiful and I love it. So let's get started with my list. Okay, so the first book that I want to read in June is called Bad Summer People. This book is by Emma Rosenblum, and I had this book on my want to read for a while. It's on Kindle Unlimited, and this book says, a whip-smart propulsive debut about infidelity, backstabbing, and murderous intrigue set against an exclusive summer haven on Fire Island. None of them would claim to be a particularly good person, but who among them is actually capable of murder? Jen Weinstein and Lauren Parker rule the town of Sulcombe Fire Island every summer. They hold sway on the beach and the tennis court and are adept at manipulating people to get what they want. Their husbands, Sam and Jason, have summered together on the island since childhood, despite lifelong grudges and numerous secrets. Their one single friend, Rachel Wolf, is looking to meet her match, whether he's the tennis pro or someone else's husband. But even with plenty of gossip about this season, starts out as quietly as any other, until a body is discovered face down off the side of the boardwalk. Stylish, subversive, and darkly comedic, this is a story of what's lurking under the surface of picture-perfect lives in a place where everyone has something to hide. So this is set in a summer background, but not necessarily like summer romance vibes. I think I've said it a million times. If you've been following me, you know I'm trying to read more than just romance. And so this has been, like I said, on my list for a while, and it's on Kindle Unlimited. So if you have Kindle Unlimited, you might want to check it out. The next book I want to read is called The Comeback Summer by Allie Brady. I actually just borrowed this from Libby. And so most of the books I have on this have not come out yet. They're coming out in June. And so I'm trying to see what I could get, without using that. But I am for sure going to buy them on my Kindle. Like enough with the books because I have no place to put them. Okay, so this one says, two sisters have one summer to crush their comfort zones and save their grandmother's legacy in this sweet, sexy, and heartful novel by Allie Brady, author of The Beach Trap. Hannah and Libby need a miracle. The PR agency they inherited from their grandmother is losing clients left and right, and the sisters are devastated at the thought of closing. The situation seems hopeless until in walks Lou, an eccentric self-help guru who is looking for a new PR agency. Her business could solve all their problems, but there's a catch. Whoever works with Lou must complete a 12-week challenge as part of her Crush Your Comfort Zone program. Hannah, whose worst nightmare is making small talk with strangers, is challenged to go on 12 first dates. Libby, who once claimed to have period cramps for 4 weeks straight to get out of gym class, is challenged to compete in an obstacle course race. The challenges begin with Hannah helping Libby train and Libby managing the dating app on her sister's behalf. There's more, but it kind of gets really into the story. So this looks really good. I love the sister aspect. And I think it's going to be sort of like a funny comedy. Okay, the next book I would like to read has not come out yet. It's Not in Love by Ali Hazelwood. This is her new book. I did not read Bride. She came out with that earlier this year. I just heard a lot of mixed reviews, and I'm not really into like paranormal romances, so I skipped that. But I am excited about this one. I saw somebody who had an arc of this book, and they said it wasn't that good, but I'm just going to go with it because she's kind of an auto-buy author for me. So this one says, Rue Siebert might not have it all, but she has enough. A few friends she can always count on, the financial stability she yearned for as a kid, and a successful career as a biotech engineer at Klein, one of the most promising startups in the fields of food science. Her world is stable, pleasant, and hard-fought, until a hostile takeover and its offensive, attractive front man threatens to bring it all crumbling down. Eli Kilgore and his business partners want Klein, period. Eli has his own reasons for pushing this deal, though, and he's a man who gets what he wants. With one burning exception, Rue, the woman he can't stop thinking about, the woman who's off limits to him. Torn between loyalty and undeniable attraction, Rue and Eli throw caution out the lab and the bedroom windows. Oh, so it's sort of like everything she's already written. The STEM side of things, it reminds me of like Love Theoretically. So I think it'll be good. I don't think I'll have any problems with that. And I wonder if that will be the book of the month for June or one of the options, because some of her books are on there. Okay, the next book that I have that I would like to read, and this is a question mark, it's Love Unwritten by Lauren Asher. This is the second book in her new Billionaire series. And I read the first one and it was mid, like the most mid book ever. So I'm not really racing to get this one. Most of her books are on Kindle Unlimited, so I'll probably read it there, but I do not need a copy. Okay, so this says, Ellie Sinclair is a hopeless romantic who writes love songs. It says, I'm a struggling workaholic who could inspire 100 breakup albums. On paper, we have nothing in common except for my son. For 8 months, I avoid her until our summer trip. 14 days, 2 islands, and 1 nanny I shouldn't be attracted to. Spending time with Ellie is expected, but enjoying her company, that isn't part of our travel plans. After my divorce, I swore to protect my heart at all costs, even if it means breaking hers in the process. Okay, so that's Raphael's. That's the guy. That's his part. And then Ellie says, what's worse than working for a grumpy single dad? Admitting that I once had a secret crush on him in high school. Thankfully, Rafael Lopez and I have changed since we graduated from Asteria High. He's a billionaire with a company to run and a child to take care of. I'm an unemployed songwriter he hired to watch his son and teach music. We coexist without any issues until vacation changes everything. Okay, that sounds kind of cute. That sounds better than the first one. And the first one was so bad I don't even remember a lot of it, but I know it was not as good as that synopsis. So again, a question mark for this one, but still pretty good. The next book I want to read in June is The Rom-Commers. This is by Catherine Center. Now, the last book, Hello Stranger by Catherine Center, I got it from Book of the Month Club, then I got a digital copy, and I just could never get into it. I really did not connect with the whole face blindness where she could see everything but his face. It just, the whole thing, I didn't like it. So I didn't read it. I did try it a couple of times actually, and I just couldn't do it. So, okay, it says for The Rom-Commers, Emma Wheeler desperately longs to be a screenwriter. She spent her life studying, obsessing over, and writing romantic comedies. Good ones that win contests. But she's also been the sole caretaker of her kind-hearted dad who needs full-time care. Now, when she gets a chance to rewrite a script for famous screenwriter Charlie Yates, her personal writing god, it's a break too big to pass up. Emma's younger sister steps in for caretaking duties, and Emma moves to LA for 6 weeks for the writing gig of a lifetime. But what is it they say? Don't meet your heroes? Charlie Yates doesn't want to write with anyone, much less a failed nobody screenwriter. Worse, the romantic comedy he's written is so terrible it might actually bring on the apocalypse. He doesn't even care about the script. It just means it's just a means to get a different one greenlit. But Emma's not going down without a fight. She will stand up for herself and for rom-coms and for love itself. Okay, that sounds all right. I'm reading How to End a Love Story, and it kind of has that similar sort of basis where they're in that screenwriting room, and she's from New York and goes to LA just for the time period. So I don't know. This one is on the list again, but I'm not racing towards it. And just like that, different glasses. If you're paying attention, different earrings, because in the middle of filming yesterday, I got so tired that I just paused. And that's kind of the week that it's been. If you know, you know, these 4-day weeks sometimes really hit us hard. But let's pick it up to where I want to, what I want to continue to read for June. So the next book I want to read is a novel love story by Ashley Poston. Now, she wrote The 7-Year Slip. I did not love The 7-Year Slip, but I'm willing to give her book another try. And this really is like a cover. I love the cover of the book, so I'm going to read it. So I'm judging the book by its cover, but I really like it. So this one says, Eileen Merriweather loves to get lost in a good happily ever after. The fictional kind, anyway. Because at least imaginary men don't leave you at the altar. She feels safe in a book at home, which might be why she's so set on going to her annual book club retreat this year. She needs good friends, cheap wine, and grand romantic gestures, no matter what. But when her car unexpectedly breaks down on the way, she finds herself stranded in a quaint town that feels like it's right out of a novel, because it is. This place can't be real, and yet she's here in Ellerton, the town of her favorite romance series, where the candy store's honey taffy is always sweet, the local bar's burgers are always a little burnt, and rain always comes in the afternoon. It feels like home. It's perfect and perfectly frozen, trapped in the late author's last unfinished story. Elsie is sure that's why she must be here, to help bring the town to its storybook ending. Except there is a character in Ellerton that she can't place. A grumpy bookstore owner with mint green eyes, an irritatingly sexy mouth, and impeccable taste in novels. And he does not want her finishing this book, which is a problem because Elsie is beginning to think the town's happily ever after might just be intertwined with her own. Ooh, that's kind of exciting. So, Ashley Poston's 7-Year Slip was also kind of this parallel universe type thing, and so I can see the same thing sort of happening, but I like this one better because 7-Year Slip to me felt like In 5 Years by Rebecca Searle, and I love Rebecca Searle, so you can't top that for me. But this one, I love the idea that she's set in the book and has to finish the book, so definitely more excited about that than I thought I would be. Okay, next up I want to read Bookishly Ever After by Sarah Monson. I've never read anything by her. And it says, Emery Blake is the ultimate bibliophile. She'd take curling up with a good novel over a night on the town on any day of the week. But then best friend Tate Woodby accuses her of living between the pages of her paperbacks instead of the real world and make a bet that will force her to experience the adventures of her fictional friends instead of just reading about them. With her face no longer buried in books, Emery must confront the pain of the past. But is it also her perfect opportunity to discover the hunky hero who could be the happily ever after of her own story? Question mark. So I like that one too. I kind of like any book that's set in a bookish world, and so love that the main character is a bibliophile. Okay, next up, I'm going to come back to The Paradise Problem by Christina Lauren. This was my Book of the Month Club pick in May. I was so excited that it came out early, and I started it and ended up soft DNFing it. I soft DNF'd it because it is a romance that is forced proximity, and I just knew where it was going, and so it's like forced proximity plus fake dating, and so I just wasn't feeling it. I don't know how much I'm feeling it now, but I have it on the list, so we'll see. But basically in this story, we start with two people who are living together, and we start in the story with them sort of coming out of the apartment together, moving. And so the girl in the story is Anna, and the guy in the story, what's his name? West, were living together for convenience, and he told his family that he was married to her. She needed campus housing, and so they've been living like this for 3 years, and now they're going their separate ways. But West needs to show up with Anna for a future wedding, a family wedding that he's attending. So now they have to sort of put on that they are not only married, but they have been, and they're happily ever after and all that. So I think it's a cute concept. It's just one that I've seen over and over. And a couple weeks ago, I maybe put this in my wrap up, but we wait a year for these books to come out, and I wanted Christina Lauren's book to be something more than forced proximity with fake dating, because I feel like it's such an easy trope. And I'm not a writer, and I don't know the process of what it takes to be a writer, so I'm not discounting their work as authors. I just think it's a trope that's overdone. And so I wanted to see something different from them because I love their writing. But I'm not saying that much positive stuff about it, but I swear I want to read it. So we will wait for that one to come out. Well, it's out already, but we'll wait for me to read it to see if I finish it for this TBR. All right, next up, I want to read That Summer Feeling by Bridget Morrissey. I've never read this book, but the cover was so cute. It says, Garland Moore used to believe in magic, the power of optimism and signs from the universe. Then her husband surprised her with divorce papers over Valentine's Day dinner. Oh, that's brutal. Now Garland isn't sure what to believe anymore, except that she's clearly never meant to love again. When new friends invite her to spend a week at their reopened sleepaway camp, she and her sister decide it's an opportunity to enjoy the kind of summer getaway they never had as kids. If Garland still believed in signs, this would sure seem like one. Summer camp is a chance to let go of her past and start fresh. Nestled in the picturesque Blue Ridge Mountains, Camp Carl Cove provides the exact escape Garland always dreamed of until she runs into Mason, the man she had a premonition about after one brief meeting years ago. No matter how she tries to run, the universe appears determined to bring love back into Garland's life. She even ends up rooming with Mason's sister, Stevie, a vibrant former park ranger who's as charming as she is competitive. The more time Garland spends with Stevie, the more the signs confuse her. The stars are aligning in a way Garland never could have predicted. Amid camp tournaments and moonlight dances, Garland continues to be pulled toward the beautiful blonde outdoorsman who makes her laugh and swoon. Summer camp doesn't last forever, but if Garland can learn to trust her heart, the love she finds there just might. So I think that sounds really cute. I read a couple books last year that had like a summer camp theme where adults were at summer camp, and it's such a cute backdrop for me. I wasn't a summer camp kid, but I just love that setting. So when I read the first little tagline, which says, turns out you're never too old for summer camp romance, I was like, sold. I'm in. I want to read it. The next book on my list that I would like to read this summer, or in June, I said this summer because it's really a lot of books, but really this is just June. Every Time I Go on Vacation, Someone Dies by Catherine Mack. This is part of a cozy mystery series, and the cover is so, so cute. It says, all that best-selling author Eleanor Dash wants is to get through her book tour in Italy and kill off her main character, Connor Smith, in the next in her vacation mystery series. Is that too much to ask? Clearly, because when an attempt is made on the real Connor's life, the handsome but infuriating con man she got mixed up with 10 years ago and now can't get out of her life, Eleanor's enlisted to help solve the case. Contending with literary rivals, rabid fans, a stalker, and even her ex, Oliver, who turns up unexpectedly, theories are bandied about and rivalries, rifts, and broken hearts are revealed. But who's really going to get away with the murder? So it says, Every Time I Go on Vacation, Someone Dies is the irresistible and hilarious series debut from Catherine Mack. And I am so excited about this one. I do love cozy mysteries, but I like, they all sort of follow a format, but I haven't seen like a summer one like this. And so I'm excited to dive into that one. Next up, I have on my list Jackpot Summer by Elisa Friedland. I actually saw this book on Destiny Sibyl's channel. She got an arc of this book, and it just sounded interesting to me. But basically, it's about, I'll just read the synopsis. After the Jacobson siblings win a life-changing fortune in the lottery, they assume their messy lives will transform into sleek, storybook perfection. But they couldn't be more wrong. The 4 Jacobson children were raised to respect the value of a dollar. Their mother reused tea bags and refused to pay retail. Their father taught them to budget before he taught them to ride a bike. And yet, as adults, their financial lives, as well as their personal lives, are in a complete disarray. The siblings reunite when their newly widowed father puts their Jersey Shore home on the market. Packing up their childhood isn't easy, especially when they all have drama brewing back home. And then they go into everybody's drama. So then it says, so when Noah sees an ad for a Powerball drawing, he and his sisters go in on a ticket. Matthew passes, but the ticket is a winner, and all hell breaks loose as the infusion of cash causes sibling rivalries and family secrets to resurface. Without their mother and with their father busy playing pickleball in a Florida retirement village, the once close-knit siblings search for comfort in shiny new toys instead of each other. So I just loved that premise. I think this is something I'll definitely move up my list because I think it's more literary fiction, and I'm sure we'll find out some secrets, and I know the family will come back together. But it also poses the question, like, if your family went in on a ticket and won, but you didn't go in, what would you do? I mean, I personally would probably still give that person money because that's just how I am, but they could cause rifts. I see that. The next book and final book on my June TBR is a book called Happy Medium by Sarah Adler. I have read Sarah Adler books before, I believe, or maybe her name just sounds familiar. I couldn't pinpoint like where I'd heard it. She did write Mrs. Nash's Ashes. I know I did not read that, but this book says a clever con woman must convince a skeptical, sexy farmer of his property resident real-life ghost if she's to save them all from a fate worse than death, in this delightful new novel from the author of Mrs. Nash's Ashes. So a clever con woman must convince a skeptical, sexy farmer of his property's resident real-life ghost. Okay, so she's trying to convince him that there is a ghost on her property. I'm assuming as a farmer, he's going to be portrayed as practical and down to earth, and that's not going to happen, and love is going to ensue. It looks like she's going to have 1 month to convince Charlie, the main guy, that he can't sell his property because there's a ghost there. And so that sounded cute to me. It is recent. It came out April 30th. And I don't love paranormal romances, but I don't mind this kind because it's like a medium witchy sort of vibe. And I like that. So I am excited to read that. Note, I just kind of like skimmed the Goodreads, description. But sometimes I feel like Goodreads gives too much in the synopsis, where like I just read the entire book by reading the synopsis, so I was just trying to skim it. Comment down below if you also think Goodreads sometimes gives just a little bit too much. But those are the books that I would like to read for June. I am super excited though, because since I waited and filmed this over 2 days, today the Book of the Month Club books came out for June, and so many of my books that I wanted to read are on that list. So my box is going to be huge. And I will show that to you, but I picked up Not in Love, the rom-commers, Jackpot Summer, and then whatever the romance book of the month was. So super excited to open that box with you guys. But that is everything I'm going to try to read. Let's see how far I get. Like I said, I'm not into like a full TBR because I'm such a mood reader, but we'll see. Comment down below if you have any of these books on your list for June or other months in the summer, or if you've read any of them. And as always, thanks so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.